All right. Second try. So I decided to start the artist way again because I already did it this year, but I think the first time that I did it, it created a lot of like really challenging feelings within me, and I wanted to drop this book. I wanted to drop arts, and to be honest, it did kind of say that I was gonna go through these things, but also it kind of happened to be during like a massive transition in my life. So it felt like I was trying to do this book, trying to move, trying to understand myself, trying to change everything about my life. And to be honest, like that's the thing, my life has changed a lot, but um I would say the first time reading it created safety within my body. I think like doing the artist way and going through the transitions that I went through, it made me believe that it's safe to be in this world, which I never believed because I lived in survival mode my entire life. And I think this year was the first time I left it. However, I don't think that doing the artist way the first time made me necessarily create more securely. Like, I do feel safe, I feel good about where I am, but I feel like I'm still like doubting myself or doubting my skills, and then also relying a lot on feedback, not relying as much on myself. So like safety was fixed, but self-trust was not. And it didn't necessarily inspire me to create more. I think it inspired me to change my life, but it didn't inspire me to create. So I think I'm gonna try to do it the second time, because if I start today, well, today I already finished the week one, but if I start now, I will be done exactly by the time I started last time. So I want to see a transition. I want to see if something has changed, and I think it also happens that this book is here with me. So I was like, you know what, it is here on my path, and I might as well read it for the second time. So now I'm through. Well, this is the book, this is the Bible. No, I don't know, like this, it feels very different reading it now because I have changed a lot of the way that I think about certain things. For example, if we go, well, essentially, what was the first week about again? It was, I think, creating the safe and sense of safety, which is literally, like, first it was like the values and stuff, and then you needed to, the artist, oh my god, my artist date was beautiful. It was an accidental artist day, I have to be honest. It was not intentional, because I was feeling a lot of anger, I was feeling really a lot of frustration, I was really sad, and then I decided to take a day off for myself, and it was really random. I went on a walk. It was just gonna be a walk. I took my like painting like stuff with me, and I was like, okay, like I'm just gonna, well, not painting, coloring stuff. I took my coloring stuff with me, and I was like, I'm just gonna go to a park and I'm just gonna draw for a little bit because I feel so much frustration, I feel so upset. But then in the end, I ended up taking a bus to another city, like an hour away, like an hour and a half away from where I am, and just sat by the beach and cried a lot and colored, and it was nice. Like, it felt like an artist date. I do have to say that I would like to tell myself that more intentional dates is what I'm hoping would have. I don't want to just go for walks and frustrated walks because my emotions are all over the place. I want to be really intentional with how I spend time with myself, because yeah, what I learned this year is that I also lack self-love. So we are recovering everything. Okay, essentially the first week was recovering a sense of safety, which was for me easier to read. The first time I read this chapter, it sent me. I remember that it was extremely difficult, and I was crying so much during reading. Like, I could not get through this fucking book, like through this first chapter. But now it was easier. And also with morning pages, I've been consistent since March. I think I've skipped maybe in total a week of doing morning pages, and it was not good. Morning pages work, and honestly it worked for me so well. So because I have a lot of thoughts in my head, it's good to let them out somewhere. So yeah, here the third one for me was really different because list 3 old enemies of your creative self-worth. Please be specific as possible while doing this exercise. It's always necessary to acknowledge creative injuries and grieve them. I think last time I said people that have doubted me in my childhood, and people that told me that I'm not good enough, because I feel like this was like my battle with myself this entire year, but also my entire life, but this year especially, because I think all of these wounds, they came to a surface of that I don't feel like I'm good enough, and that I'm like having these voices from other people in my head that are telling me that I'm not, and I'm not having enough self-love and self-assurance to tell myself that I am. Now, again, this exile was different for me because I realized that I actually never really, after a while, after I started creativity, I never expected people that were my close, like family or people from my past, to support me, because that wasn't the experience anyway, so I didn't accept it. Like, I don't know how to say it. It wasn't like, of course it hurt, but at the same time, I wasn't like, oh, they need to support me. And I was like, oh, whatever, like they don't support me, they don't support me. But I think I put that responsibility onto other creatives, and I expected that kind of respect that I was giving to them by but basically, like, I don't know how to really say that, but I took the hope for someone to validate me from the caretakers and everything to my friends that were also artists, because I was like, okay, let's support each other because we don't have a good support system. However, I wasn't getting as much support, and especially when it came to like when it came to giving back the favor, because I am artistically all for sharing experiences and sharing skills, and if I do something for you, I hope you can do something for me if our skills match. And in many ways they did, because like essentially I'm a photographer and videographer, and I work with a lot of musicians, so I do content for them, and I would love to use their music also sometimes for films if I'm making films, so like it would be a good exchange. However, when it came to exchanges, not with everyone, but often it happened that there was not like fair play or not fair pay or expected pay, and then it wasn't coming. And I feel like I have actually, if I think about the enemies, I think it was for me friends, like close friends that have always felt like they were supportive, but when it came to the actual support, there was none. Like never, in terms of never anything, not a share, not an actual payment, not anything that they have promised, like broken promises that have felt like I was stupid all along for believing that this was a transaction that we were doing collectively. And I'm not going to obviously mention exactly these scenarios that have happened, but I think for me that was also like the biggest pain. And I really remembered it when I was writing. I was like, wow, like that actually feels so hurtful, because I started like, again, like it is become because of like lack of self-love and lack of self-trust and lack of picking up on like the little subtle, well, I'm not gonna do that for you, like I'm not gonna actually do it for you, because when I'm in. So like if someone asks me to do something, hey, I'll finish it. And if we have agreed on something, I'm assuming that it's gonna be happening. And if it's not, I'm gonna apologize a million times because of my lack of capacity, of my lack of financial means, or whatever it is, but like I'm gonna be honest about it. I think what was lacking in this situation, that it wasn't honesty, and then I was the one who was like constantly like asking. And I think this was my thing, lack of respect, but also lack of respect for myself for not walking away or addressing the situations earlier when they were meant to be addressed, because I was not enough, not self-assured enough. Yeah, like time travel, select and write the horror story of your monster hall of fame. Again, I don't think I want to mention it in detail, but I think we all have it. We all remember something like this, and mine was difficult to like write, but at the same time it felt easier because I felt like I'm literally feeling like now I could let it go, because I could also take some self-accountability, or like to take accountability for the ways that I have felt disrespected, because I was not trusting myself right away when I felt the first shift. I don't know if that makes sense. I also want to say about the 3 old champions. I want to say I changed it again to like new champions. I do have friends in my life that are extremely supportive, that are so nice, that honestly are reasons to why I haven't dropped art, because every time I forget, um, they remind me. And like one of my closest friends, I have tried to drop art so many times, and we have created so many things together. And just before I left, well, just before I moved from the city where we both lived, she told me, she gave me a book, and gave me a book that was like book of positive reviews, so I can write down the good things that people have said about my arts, and um, yeah, like share it with myself. Like every time that I forget that I can read it, that's my champion. And also, again, some of my friends are champions, and I love them. Um, yeah. And imaginary lives, I have to say, like again, it changed a lot, because I think in like last time I did it, I wrote a lot of I wrote a lot of very peaceful things, while this time I wrote a lot of things that are more like active and have to do with like handwork. And I don't know, for example, I want to like be a construction worker. I don't know why I wrote that, but I think like to just be able to like build things with your hands and finish projects could be so cool. And I don't remember what I wrote, but I was very much of like, it was away from people, but it was within like a skill set to do with hands. I don't know if that makes sense, but it was great. And working with affirmation and blurred, so this felt easier because I've been trying to like reframe my self-talk the entire year. So this actually was much easier because the harsh statements weren't as harsh, and changing them into positive was already a habit, so it became like easier to change. And yeah, taking my artist for a walk, hey, this is something I still need to do more often, but I haven't yet, so this is something that I need to improve. And yeah, and the check-ins, like issues, I think overall I can say like this chapter was much easier than the first time I did it, and it felt really good. And yeah, like I really want to watch this back in comparison. I want to watch the first week and this week and be like, okay, what has changed in these months. And I think that's my goal. I really want to, yeah, like I really want to see if something has, and I think it has, but let's see. Yeah, anyway, bye.